Hello everyone and welcome to the wonderful world of the TCG. As always, I'm your Canadian professor, Professor Trillium. I'm back. My voice and my throat are doing a lot better since last recording. So I'm able to scream if I need to. Hopefully not for you. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. Obsidian Flames. That's what we're talking about today, Obsidian Flames. We have started the pre-release events. I went to a pre-release event on Sunday. So by the time this video goes up, a few days have gone by. There are still pre-release events happening throughout this week. So far, so the release for Obsidian Flames is August 11th. So, if you find yourself going to a pre-release event, you may want to tune into this video. I'm going to be talking about some of the cards that I ran into and showcasing some of the cards that I got. Now, I have my build and battle kit here. I also have the box that I brought, and I also have a single pack. So, first, let's talk about the tournament itself. I didn't do too bad. I was 2-2, very close, 3-1. It just wasn't in the draw for me. One game, I had one basic Pokemon when you first draw your 7 cards. So I had one basic Pokemon and 6 energies. So you can only expect how well that match went. Not that great. So so I was 2-2. I was really hoping for 3-1. I played a lot better than I have in the past, so I'm happy with that. All right, so let's jump into it here. For those of you that still have tournaments to go to, I'm going to be just highlighting some of the cards that I ran into at the event. I'll try to show an image of them on the screen just so you can see what their abilities are, etc., etc. And I'll showcase some cards that I ended up getting from my deck, as well as some of the other pulls. So while I was there, I was able to buy some additional battle kits, pardon me, and I ended up opening them while I was there. I was too excited, and I didn't save them for the video, so I only have one pack to open, so that's okay. So I'm going to highlight to you what I got overall. So in my first build and battle kit, I ended up getting this. So out of 4 packs, this was probably the biggest one that I got. Prices for these aren't really up yet, just in case. Let's see, price. All right, by the time I edit the video. All right, so after that, the other packs that I purchased and I opened, these are the other cards that I got. I'm just going to put them in an order here. So, okay. So, by the way, here's the Togekiss here that I ended up getting in my battle kit. The ability Precious Gift. Once at the end of your turn, after your attack, you may use this ability. Draw cards until you have 8 cards in your hand. This is broken. This is amazing. All right? This is amazing. And Power Cyclone, hey, double colorless energy. Super easy. Hits 110, then you get to move your energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched. So, if you have energy in your hand, you attack with the Togekiss in your active. You move the energy, and you could start buffing up either another Togekiss or another EX or whatever you're trying to set up. Togekiss is broken. Togekiss is amazing. I love this card. It worked splendidly. All right. So other cards that I pulled, I got the Pidgeot EX here. So ability quick search. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a card and put it in your hand. Then shuffle your deck. You can't use more than one quick search ability each turn. Then double colorless energy for Blustery Wind hits for 120. You may discard a stadium in play. Amazing! So, you get the Pidgeot line, work with the Togekiss, and you're off. Like, get your rare candies, get your nest balls, and start just getting hits out. Very quick, very easy. Alright, so I wasn't able to use Pidgeot because this was one of the packs that I got after I constructed my deck and everything. So Pidgeot was not in play. Next, I believe this character's name is Gita. Haven't played Scarlet and Violet, so I'm not sure. So I did pull this card. So number 218 of 197. So how awesome is that? So praise? All right. So, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. During this turn, your Pokemon can't attack. This includes Pokemon that come into play this turn. This wasn't that bad, especially if I was trying to find energy to put on my Togekiss. If I was evolving my Togekiss early, because of rare candies, etc., this came into a play to get that energy on it. So next turn, I could start hitting for the 110. So that was great. And on the end here, a Vespiquen EX. Look at that. They got the full art here, number 212, 197. So here it has healing pheromone, heals 60 damage from one of your Pokemon. Great. And then Phantom Queen hits for 200 for 3 grass energy. Put 3 damage counters on each of your opponent's benched Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Alright, so it hits for 200, then you get, if there's any benched Pokemon that have any counters on it, you can go ahead and add 3 more. Didn't play that card either. Again, that was one of the cards that I got after. So, what did I come into... What did I come into play with? All right. So, let's see. We got this Politoed here. So this is an early look at a bunch of the cards. So Politoed, didn't play this one. Didn't really see anyone have it. I did see someone with a Darkrai. So Night Cyclone, move all energy from this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Hits for 120. That's pretty cool. All right. But you're moving all the energy. And you also have to keep in mind that 2 of those energies are dark. So be mindful of that when you're constructing your decks. I did happen to get a Wugtrio here. Entwining entrapment. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Not that great. Okay, the Wiglet also came with it. So Grumpig, Powerful Step for 1 psychic energy. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards. Attach them to your Pokemon anywhere you like. So that's cool. So Grumpig has 120 HP. Zen Headbutt, 1 psychic energy, 2 colorless. Not bad. Not bad, especially with Powerful Step. You start getting that energy. You can attach those 2 energies to your Grumpig to start hitting for 100. So that's all right. Then I have a Heatmore here, Energy Burner. This attaches 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's really cool. There's a lot in my hand here. Hold on. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna put some down here. All right. Skarmory here. Slashing Steel for 120. During your next turn, the Pokemon can't use Slashing Steel, so hit, you have to wait. Okay, Pidgey, Fungus, Enticing Pattern. Search your deck for a basic grass energy. Put it onto your bench. or grass, sorry, not grass energy, grass Pokemon, and put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So it has to be a basic. Didn't really see anyone playing a Bronzong here. Oracle Press. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage to attacks of your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. Extrasensory. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, this attack does 90 more damage. So it hits for 160. So that's interesting. Of course, Synchronized Feathers is very popular. Didn't really see anyone use a Flamingo. So if there's a Flamingo on your bench, this attack does 60 more damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Alright? Of course, this isn't the... There's another one here with the Murkrows and stuff. Okay, so Electros. This was in one of my packs. This wasn't part of the constructed deck. Switch on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. If you do, this attack does 60 damage to the new active Pokemon. Then flip a coin. If heads, the Pokemon's now paralyzed. So that's alright. And then here, so we're seeing a lot with this set. I know a lot of people are saying that there's not much to this set, but you're having a lot of Stage 2 Pokemon come into play, which is great. And a lot of the Stage 2 Pokemon only need 1 energy off of what type they are, and then 2 colorless. So this is super quick and easy to get into play. Alright, so Scyther here, agility, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. Pretty straightforward. You want to use Scyther to get to Scizor. Scizor was the big one. Didn't really see a Scizor in play, probably because people couldn't really get it to work with the random packs. Alright, so Probopass, triple nose, flip 3 coins. This attack does 40 damage. Iron Buster, during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. It's for 160. Didn't really see this either. Didn't really see the Lycanroc. If your opponent's active Pokemon has no damage counters on it, before this attack does damage, this attack does nothing. So it has to have damage on it first. Interesting. But here, look, you have another stage. We have a Stage 1 Pokemon here, 130 HP, which is great for a Stage 1. And here you go again. You have another single energy related to the Pokemon, and then 2 colorless. Super easy to get going. Salazzle's back. Baltoy with Rapid Spin. Diglett here. Discard the top card of your deck. Heal 20 damage. Okay. I didn't really look too much at these because they didn't really work in my deck. Alright, Forest, Miasma. During Pokemon checkup, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, put 1 damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. Then you have Lockup for 3 colorless energy. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Alright, hits for 100. 3 colorless energy for 140 HP. There we go. And this card, okay, so we have Bonsly here with Blubbering. Your opponent's active Pokemon's not confused. Some of the pre-constructed decks had this in it at the very end. Alright, so we noticed with the decks that had Finizen and Paladin, those are Palafin. That deck had the Bonsly in it. Alright? So, Bonsly's return to the Pokemon TCG after some time. Alright, so let's keep going here. Alright. Queenly Heal. During your opponent's next turn, Pokemon can't be played from your opponent's hand to evolve the defending Pokemon. Hold on. Pokemon can't be played from your opponent's hand to evolve the defending Pokemon. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So they just can't evolve. Spinning Kick. 2 grass energies. So again, not bad. Stage 2, 160 HP. That's high. Spinning Kick. This Pokemon also does 20 damage to itself, but it hits for 160. So you're 1-hit KOing a Lycanroc. You're 1-hit KOing a Togekiss. You're 1-hit KOing a Palafin. So not bad. Here, Shuckle Guard Press. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. And then Berry Send. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So that's not bad. You put Shuckle out there, and you can start getting your bench going. All right, I did have some people use Rhyme here. Draw 3 cards, switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. So that's cool. So it says here your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon. So not only do you draw cards, but it's also a way for you to get the switch there. All right, so I did have Gita here in my deck. So here's an Electros. This is a different one. So the other Electros did not have this. So Section Shock. Switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. If you do, this attack does 60 damage to the new Pokemon. Then flip a coin. If heads, the Pokemon's now paralyzed. So with that, you can then bring in maybe one of the basic Pokemon that have low HP. And you're able to... Oh, no, never mind. It was the exact same. I guess I was just talking too much about Head Bolt that I totally forgot to look at that attack. All right, but that's pretty cool. You bring in one of the smaller basic Pokemon, try and knock them out with 60, and then try and get a quick prize. All right, then we have a bounce. We see hit it for 60. Hit it for 60. Okay, Reckless Charge. This Pokemon does 10 damage to itself. Okay. Letter of Encouragement. You can use this card only if your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Search your deck for 3 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. That's not bad. Maybe I should have put that in. Or maybe this was one of the cards that I got later that I couldn't. Combustion Chain here for Chandelure. So 1 energy here. This attack does 50 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Not bad if you have a Pokemon that has 3 energies on it. You're hitting for 160 at that point. And when you are having Pokemon here, again, you have another Stage 2 Pokemon here with 1 color associated with its type and then 2 colorless. All right? So, we're seeing a lot of that in Obsidian Flames. All right, so Chandelure can knock hits for 160 if you have Combustion Chain. Oinkalone here, Finest Selection. Flip 3 coins, put a number of cards up to the number of heads from your discard pile into your hand. Okay, and then Perfume Press. Your opponent's head to Pokemon's not confused. All right, so here's one of the major cards. If someone's able to pull this off, awesome. Like at a pre-release, that's great. Punishing Scissors. This attack does 50 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. So, people love their abilities. So, if you're able to take advantage of that, the Scizor is going to see a lot of play. Here, ability. As long as this Pokemon is in play, it is Grass and Fire type. Cool. So if it's in your active, or if it's on your ban, well, it's in play. Cool. So that means it won't have fire weakness to it if it's a fire type. And then Spicy Headbutt here, again, a Stage 1, has 110, so the HP is not that great, but it does have that dual grass and fire typing. So that means this attack's damage isn't affected by resistance, so it just hits for 110. 1 grass energy, 2 colorless. Now, if it's grass and fire, then if you're hitting, you can hit another grass Pokemon. It should hit for 220 if we are going off of the typing here. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Clay Doll here. Kaboom Doll. Put energy counters on your opponent's active Pokemon until its remaining HP is 10. If you place any damage counters this way, this attack also does 120 damage to this Pokemon. Alright, so this is like a last draw kind of thing. You make it, if there's like an EX out there with like 200 and you know, 280 HP or something. It's only going to have 10 HP left. You sacrifice your clay doll, you give them a prize card, but you end up doing some major damage to one of the larger HP Pokemon. And also, you have Mind Bend here. Your opponent's active Pokemon's now confused. Hits for 30. Alright, Vengeful Punch. If this Pokemon... if the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Alright. Yeah, just kind of going through these pretty quick. Alright, so here's the stadium here. Pokemon League Headquarters. Attacks used by each basic Pokemon in play cost 1 star more. Blossom, Powerful Dance. Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 90 damage for each heads. Okay. Patrol Cap. As long as the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, cards in your deck can't be discarded by effects of your opponent's cards. Abilities, item cards, Pokemon tool cards, or supporter cards. Okay. So these are all the cards that I did not use during the pre-release event. Here's a Magnezone here, Magnetic Repulsion for 50. You may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Okay, so you hit it for 50 and then you throw them to the bench. Then Thunder. Again, you have a Magnezone here with 170 HP, a Stage 2, 1 Electric Energy, 2 Colorless. This Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. So that's not that great, but it is what it is. Here, Espeon, Psychic Assault for 30 plus. This attack does 10 more damage for each counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. And then Psybolt for 60. Flip a coin if heads your Pokemon. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. And alright. And then here, watch out for Toxel here. The Toxel, when it evolves into the Toxtricity, this is what I ran into a lot of. So the Toxtricity has... okay, first let's talk about this. The Toxel, Slight Intrusion, just hits for 30 and then it hits itself for 10, whatever. When it evolves to Toxtricity, though, it has Leer for 1 colorless energy, and then for 1 electric energy. And then for 1 electric energy and 2 colorless, it has an attack. I think it hits for 50, but it states that for every other Pokemon type on your bench, it hits for an additional 30. So, what I ran into probably twice. Yeah. The Toxtricity came out relatively quickly. They were able to get, they were able to use like a nest ball, etc., to put Pokemon onto the bench and start putting in those random typings. So they had like a normal Pokemon, a grass Pokemon, etc. Just to fill up their bench. Their main focus was getting the Toxtricity out. So that way, if you had 4 different types on the bench, alright, or maybe even 5, you're hitting for 250. And it just really knocks, it just really knocks out a lot of the Pokemon that it comes across. So watch out for the Toxtricity. The picture should look like this. I hope I found an image of it. All right, so now I'm gonna just quickly show some of the cards that I had in my kit that I used during the tournament. All right, so one of the main things I used was the Finizen and the Palafin here. What's great is that with the Finizen for 1 water energy, there you go. Switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon if you do search your deck for a Pokemon that evolves to this Pokemon. So you put this on the bench, and then you can end up putting the Palafin onto it right away. Now the Palafin here has Jet Punch. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It hits for 30. Jet Punch came into play a lot when I was trying to clear off the bench, especially with before a Toxtricity came out. Just trying to get rid of those other typings. And then for Justice Kick, hits for 210 for 2 water energy. Now, it is a little tricky to get into play. If this Pokemon didn't move from the bench to the active spot this turn, this attack does nothing. So, you have to get it into the active, and then you can attack with it. So, what I felt worked best was Togekiss. Togekiss, if you look here, has a 0 retreat cost. So, Togekiss was in my active. I swapped it out, brought out the Palafin, then you can use Justice Kick. Another thing you could do is, one of the cards that I had was a switch. So I was able to switch whoever was in my active to put Palafin out there to try and get Justice Kick going. Other cards that I had in my deck, obviously, I had Togetic to get to the Togekiss. Togetic, for 1 colorless energy, shared piece to draw 3 cards. I did use this just because I really needed to get some cards in my hand at one point. And then Speed Drive, so nothing special. Togepi, Whiny Voice. I did actually use this quite a few times to stall. So you actually choose a random card from your opponent's hand, they reveal it, and then they shuffle it in their deck. So it's a good way to get cards out of their hand, especially if you're running into like that Toxtricity deck or a Palafin, etc. You can pull, hopefully get lucky, pull that card, they shuffle it back in their deck, and now they're 1 card less than you. Alright? So that is important. Alright? You want to make sure they don't have any options to do anything. So Togepi starting off right away, not bad. So you put Togepi out there, and you're able to start depleting their cards. Of course, you got the rare candy here, so you can evolve Pokemon and skip stages. So yeah, here's my Togekiss. So I was lucky I had 3 Togekiss, 2 Togetic, and 3 Togepi. I also had a Clavel. Here we go. So search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon with 120 HP or less. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This was great to try and get Togepis or the Finizins on my bench. So that way I'm able to get things rolling. Alright. More Palafins. Alright, so here's another Finizin. Now, this is a different one. It has Tail Smack for 30. So, it also has 90 HP. So, slightly different, or very different, from the other Finizin, which only had 50 HP. Of course, I had an Ultra Ball, discard 2 cards, and then you could go and find a Pokemon. So that was helpful to try and get Togetic out. Great Ball, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal them. If there's a Pokemon there, you can, reveal that Pokemon, and then put it into your hand. So another great way to try and get some Pokemon out. I had Youngster here, so shuffle your hand, then draw 5 cards. This was good at the beginning, before I was able to get Togetic out, or Togekiss out. Archozone here. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box and put it onto their bench. So that is beneficial to try and, if I was really stuck, like this is one of the cards that I would use for an Ultra Ball to get rid of. But if I was really in a hard spot and I didn't have many basic Pokemon, or it was hard for me to try and get my Togetics out, or Togepis, I had to resort to that. Alright, now, here are some of the stallers for a Toxtricity deck. If you're running something that has like Palafin in it, you may want to have a Tadbulb and a Bellibolt. This specific Bellibolt. Alright? So, for stage 1, it has 140 HP. Ability is Insulator. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's electric Pokemon. fantastic. This was great to stall against the Toxtricity while I was setting up my bench to get Togekiss and Palafin even into play. If I had the Belly Bolt there and they had their Toxtricity, they couldn't really do damage to me. So if I was able to get the switch, which I had here, switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched. If I used the switch and then I brought out Palafin, Palafin hits for 210 with Justice Kick. So if I had a Palafin set up, I could have knocked out the Toxtricity, all because Belly Bolt was stalling and saving that. So you actually had a water Pokemon defeat the electric Pokemon. And then you had Tadbolt here, so Thunder Jolt hits for 40, but then it also does 10 damage to itself. So you kind of want to evolve that quick to get to the Belly Bolt. This Belly Bolt is a lifesaver against that Toxtricity. So again, if you're running a Palafin deck, you may want to have a Belly Bolt or two to help stall, so that way you're not getting injured by the Toxtricity or whatever other electric, and then you can use Justice Kick to knock that out. And then you have Jock here on the end. Search your deck for up to 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand. Alright, so those are all the cards that I had. Some other cards that I ran into, I ended up running into an Entei, which had an ability of pressure. So that means I believe attacks did 20 or 30. I think it was 20. I want to say 20. Did 20 less damage to it because of that pressure ability. One of the attacks it had was for 1 fire energy. Maybe I could find a photo of it and put it there. For 1 fire energy and 2 colorless, I believe. It had an attack that hit for 50, but for every fire energy attached to it, I believe it hit for 50 more. So that was big. So you want to make sure that you're watching out for the fire energies going on to the Entei. And then lastly, I saw Camerupt. This Camerupt here had an ability, or one of its attacks was Eruption. So, on attack, both players lift the top card of their deck. If it's an energy, then the Camerupt hits for an additional 50. So, if I pulled an energy card and my opponent pulled an energy card, then it hit for 150. So that was pretty big. Other than that, that was pretty much what I was running into. I was running into so people had Togekiss. Some people had the one other person maybe that I ran into had the Palafins that they were using. 2 or 3 or more, because I didn't really get to face everybody. 2, 3 or more had the Toxtricity, so watch out for that. I saw the Entei, Camerupt, and of course you never know what people are going to pull in their packs. But essentially, that's what I ran into. Now, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to get some more Obsidian Flame battle boxes. I did pre-order a few. So if they come in, I'm going to pick them up, and then I'll showcase a video where I open up each one and I talk about the abilities and the cards, etc. All right? Now, thank you so much. Wow, I can't believe this video went that long. I'm going to open up a pack here. This is the pack... The one remaining pack that I have, the one remaining pack that I have of Obsidian Flame that I did not open, like a silly person. All right, here we go. Let's hope for something crazy. Nose Pass, Litwick, Audino. I did see an Audino here. They use this in their Toxtricity deck. So search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand. So they put the Audino out. They used Find a Friend. They were able to find a Pokemon of a different type and put it onto their bench. So Audino works well with the Toxtricity. Oh yeah! Charmander, Heat Tackle. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. Poor Charmander. Another Espeon, a Floatzel, Swirling Tail, flip a coin. If heads, put your opponent's active Pokemon and all attached cards into your opponent's hand. Wow, that's good. Wishcash, Raging and Rocking. For each fighting energy attached to this Pokemon. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Interesting. Stage 1, 140. This one here, Land Crash hits for 140, but this is one that has 2 fighting energies attached to it. Alright, non-double edge for Snubble. A Malamar, Psychic Insight. Once during your turn, you may look at the top card of your opponent's deck. If you do, look at the top card of your deck. Okay. And then it had Hypnotic Ray, hits for 90, and the Pokemon's now asleep. And another Palafin. Another Palafin! This is my 5th Palafin. That's okay. So yeah, the deck that I had, it was the Palafin deck. It had 3 Palafins in it. Had the Finizens. Had that random Bonsly, and a bunch of the supporter cards that I showed you from that deck. That's what I used. It worked well. The only issues that I had were some of the games that I had, you know, just awful draw, you know, and you can't do much about that. All right, well, everyone, thank you so much. That's going to do it for me today. I hope you stuck around and you listened to a bunch of the tactics that were used at some of the pre-release events. And thank you so much for joining me today. Keep an eye out. I am going to be adding up a bunch of videos in the upcoming days. Also, some more Obsidian Flames is coming your way very soon. So please keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget, subscribe to my subscribe to this channel, please. Subscribe, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up if you liked what we were discussing today. But don't forget, follow me on Instagram at Professor_Trillium or on Twitter at Prof_Trillium. I post a bunch of stuff on there, like when I was at the pre-release events and stuff like that. So thank you again. As always, I'm your Canadian professor, and have an amazing time in the wonderful world of the TCG. See you later.